Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to day 107 of Quran in a Year Plus, where we learn to look at the world and live life according to the lens of the Quran. Today we're going to be looking at verses 73 to 84 of Surah Al-A'raf. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وإلى ثمود أخاهم صالحا قال يا قوم اعبدوا الله ما لكم من إله غيره قد جاءتكم بينة من ربكم هذه ناقة الله لكم آية فذروها تأكل في أرض الله ولا تمسوها بسوء فيأخذكم عذاب أليم. And we sent to the tribe of Thamud their brother Salih, calling them to the oneness of Allah and His worship. Salih said to them, "My people, worship Allah alone, for you have no deity besides Him deserving of worship. A clear sign has come to you from Allah confirming the truth of what I have brought you. A she-camel that emerges from a rock. She has a designated time for drinking, and you have your own appointed day for drinking. So leave her to graze in Allah's land, and do not harm her in any way, lest a painful punishment befall you because of harming her." واذكروا إذ جعلكم خلفاء من بعد عاد وبوأكم في الأرض تتخذون من سهولها قصورا وتنحتون الجبال بيوتا فاذكروا آلاء الله ولا تعثوا في الأرض مفسدين. Remember Allah's favor upon you when He made you successors after the people of Ad, and settled you in the land so that you enjoy it and fulfill your needs. This was after the destruction of Ad due to their persistence in disbelief and denial. You build palaces on the plains of the land, and you carve the mountains to make homes for yourselves. So remember Allah's blessings upon you in order to show gratitude to Him, and abandon striving upon the earth with corruption by leaving disbelief in Allah and abandoning acts of disobedience. قال الملأ الذين استكبروا من قومه للذين استضعفوا لمن آمن منهم أتعلمون أن صالحا مرسل من ربه قالوا إنا بما أرسل به مؤمنون. The leaders and chiefs who were arrogant among his people said to the believers from among their people whom they considered weak, "Do you truly know, O believers, that Salih is a messenger from Allah?" The weak believers replied, "Indeed we believe in what Salih was sent with to us," affirming it, acknowledging it, submitting to it, and acting according to His law. قال الذين استكبروا إنا بالذي آمنتم به كافرون. Those who were arrogant among His people said, "Indeed we disbelieve in that which you believe in, O believers. We will never believe in it, nor will we act according to His law." فعقروا الناقة وعتوا عن أمر ربهم وقالوا يا صالح ائتنا بما تعدنا إن كنت من المرسلين. Then they slaughtered the she-camel which they had been forbidden to harm, arrogantly refusing to comply with Allah's command. And they said mockingly, deeming what Salih had warned them of to be far-fetched, "O Salih, bring upon us what you have threatened us with of painful punishment, if you are truly one of Allah's messengers." فأخذتهم الرجفة فأصبحوا في دارهم جاثمين. So what they had hastened came upon them of punishment. A violent earthquake seized them, and they became lifeless bodies fallen to the ground. Their faces and knees pressed to the earth, not a single one of them survived. فتولى عنهم وقال يا قوم لقد أبلغتكم رسالة ربي ونصحت لكم ولكن لا تحبون الناصحين. Then Salih alayhi salam turned away from his people after losing hope in their response and said, O my people, I have certainly conveyed to you what Allah commanded me to deliver to you, and I sincerely advised you, encouraging and warning you, but you are a people who do not love sincere advisors, who are eager to guide you to good and keep you away from evil. ولوطا إذ قال لقومه أتأتون الفاحشة ما سبقكم بها من أحد من العالمين. And remember Lut, when he said, rebuking his people in condemnation, do you commit this abhorrent and detestable act, namely approaching males? This is an act you yourselves invented, and no one before you ever committed it. إنكم لتأتون الرجال شهوة من دون النساء بل أنتم قوم مسرفون. Do you go to men to satisfy your lust instead of women, who you were supposed to go to? In doing so, you have followed neither reason nor revelation nor sound natural disposition. Rather, you are transgressors of the limits set by Allah, having departed from the bounds of human moderation and deviated from what sound intellects and upright natures require. وما كان جواب قومه إلا أن قالوا أخرجوهم من قريتكم إنهم أناس يتطهرون. His people who committed this shameless act they had been forbidden from doing only responded by turning away from the truth. They said, expel Lut and his family from your town. Indeed, they are people who keep themselves pure, and it is therefore unfitting for them to remain among us. فأنجيناه وأهله إلا امرأته كانت من الغابرين. So we saved him and his family, commanding them to leave the town by night, upon which the punishment was to descend, except for his wife. She remained behind with her people, and what befell them of punishment befell her as well. وأمطرنا عليهم مطرا فانظر كيف كان عاقبة المجرمين. And we sent down upon them a great rain of rocks of baked clay, overturning the city and turning it upside down. So reflect, O Messenger, on how the end of the criminals was. Their outcome was destruction and lasting disgrace. So as we reflect over today's verses, we see in the story of Thamud and Lut that these are not just stories about ancient nations. It is about how hearts get corrupted, how blessings decay, and how desires quietly take control when they are not disciplined. Salih told him, a clear proof has come to you from your Lord. This is the she-camel of Allah, a sign for you. Ibn Juzay says, a clear and manifest sign, which is the she-camel. They had asked Salih alayhi salam to bring her forth from a rock and pledged to believe in him if he did so. The rock split open and the she-camel emerged while they watched. She later gave birth, and some of the people believed while others disbelieved. They asked Allah for a sign, and He gave them a sign. A sign like this should have ended all doubt. But signs do not benefit hearts that don't want to believe, that only want to follow their desires. And then Allah reminds them of their blessings. And remember when He made you successors after Ad, and settled you firmly in the land. You build palaces on its plains and carve homes out of the mountains. So remember the favors of Allah and do not spread corruption through the land. Shaykh Sa'di, he says, do not ruin the land through corruption and sins, for sins turn flourishing dwellings into desolation. They emptied their homes of their people and left their residences abandoned and lonely after them. Allah did not only forbid corruption, He attached it to remembering His favors, because remembering blessings awakens gratitude. Gratitude creates humility, and humility restrains a person from abusing power, freedom, and desire. And seeing a sign like that, a camel emerging from the rock, and being reminded of their blessing surely would have led them to believe. But Allah tells us the arrogant leaders from among His people said to those who were deemed weak, to those among them who believed, "Do you truly know that Salih has been sent by his Lord?" Ibn Ashur, he mentions the leaders who were arrogant turned away from debating Salih and instead sought to test the firmness of those who believed in him, attempting to cast doubt into their hearts. Since their address to the believers was intended to undermine the call of Salih alayhi salam, it was effectively a form of indirect confrontation with Salih himself. They were described as those who were arrogant. To highlight the ugliness of their arrogance, their sense of superiority over the common people, and their humiliation of them, and to draw attention to the fact that those who believed were the weak ones among their people. Notice the pattern? Instead of discussing with Salih, they targeted people. Instead of presenting evidence, they apply pressure. Does this happen today? Instead of people asking what Islam actually teaches, asking the people who are knowledgeable about Islam, people run smear campaigns, they spread lies, they mock Muslims, they attack our Prophet, the Quran, and even God Himself. Not because they investigated and found falsehood, but because Islam calls people to love Allah and live by His guidance. And that guidance requires restraint and discipline. And restraint threatens desire. Following a new way of life, the truth, challenges their beliefs, challenges what they're used to. And when Salih lost hope, after they were destroyed, he turned to them and he said, "I have conveyed to you the message of my Lord and sincerely advised you, but you do not love those who give sincere advice." Ibn Atiyah, he says, "You do not love those who give sincere advice" refers to preferring desires over sound judgment. The words of the sincere advisor are difficult because they oppose the desire of the one being advised. This is the danger of desire. It blinds one to the truth. It makes one choose misguidance over guidance. All of Shaitan's traps, they return to two things: doubts and desires. Doubts can destroy a person's faith. But for the sincere seeker, this can be removed through seeking knowledge, through studying, and asking people of expertise. But desires requires discipline to choose what Allah loves over what I love. Many people do not want to let go of habits they love, even when they know they are harmful. And you see this in the people of Lut as well. When Allah says, "Indeed you approach men with desire instead of women." Ibn Ashur, he says, "You are a people in whom excess in desires has taken firm hold. Because of that, they came to desire an unnatural desire after becoming bored with ordinary desires." Unchecked desire never stays where it starts. It escalates. And every human being has desires. The world has been made beautiful to us. And as we navigate life, we are tested with these desires. A person may be tested with same-sex attraction, another with overwhelming heterosexual desire, another with alcohol, partying, pornography, power. Having the desire is not a sin. A person is tested with these kinds of things. But when a person acts on that desire, that's when they're sinful. And Allah holds us accountable for the choices we make. And this is where getting to know Allah and loving Allah matters. Because the believer resists desire by asking, "Why did Allah forbid this?" They think of the consequences. They remind themselves, "What does Allah want for me?" They remind themselves that in choosing Allah's pleasure is where my success lies. And in a world that chooses desire and looks down upon those individuals who don't, we remind ourselves that I am not restraining myself because I am weak or afraid. I am restraining myself because I love Allah. I know in following His guidelines is where success lies. And the only thing that the people of Lut could do was resort to sarcasm and say that these are the individuals who want to purify themselves. Ibn Ashur, he says, when they were incapable of arguing about their obscenity, they hastened to conspire to expel Lut and his family. They resorted to sarcasm. Purity became the joke. Restraint became laughable. Morality became ridiculous. They were not embarrassed by sin. They were proud of it. They mocked discipline. This is moral inversion. Sin becomes normal. Following God's way becomes strange. Faith becomes backward. And we may experience that today. If you say Allah has limits, you are labeled intolerant. If you believe obedience matters, you are called outdated. But notice how the prophets were. Salih was never unjust. Lut was never cruel. The prophets never mistreated people. They dealt fairly, they spoke honestly, they acted justly, and they never compromised on principles. They never wronged anyone. Their crime was refusing to redefine truth to satisfy desire. And they are our role models, to be firm with truth, gentle with people, disciplined with desire, loving Allah and living according to His way. Because the consequence of rejecting truth and choosing misguidance is not freedom, it is loss in this world and the next. So as we walk away from today's episode, if Allah has blessed us with people in our lives that remind us of Him, that correct us when we make mistakes, then let us thank Allah for that blessing. And thank this individual and make dua for them. We're all human beings at the end and we all make mistakes. And to have someone remind us of Allah and guide us back to His path is a great blessing to have. May Allah make us amongst those who remember His blessings in their lives. May He make us people who empower one another. May He protect us from sin and disobedience. I'll see you tomorrow inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.